Hey y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, recruiting in yoga pants. So this week we are tackling the first in a three-part series of ways that you people are ruining recruiters' lives. It's kind of hard to say that with a straight face, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, so no, all kidding aside, there were three specific topics that kind of come up repeatedly. We see and hear these things discussed a lot, and all kind of came to a head recently. I just saw a whole bunch of posts that just kind of set me off. And I made my own post in response instead of like snarking in the comments of someone else's post, which is not always a nice thing to do. I made my own post. And I was like, hey, I don't like these things. And boy, did people have a reaction. So it was interesting. There were definitely some folks who agreed. There were folks who very graciously disagreed and had good reasons and logic behind it for sure. So thank you. Gave me some food for thought and had to kind of really check my own biases here. And then there were a few people who thought that they could like outsalt me, and no, that's not going to happen. I'm the saltiest. I am like the Pacific Ocean up in here, okay? So much salt. So anywho, that's fine. Recruiting is not a monolith, all right? There are so many flavors, so many kinds of hiring that happen, so many variables in the recruiting industry, for better or worse. So I'm going to do my best, as always. The goal of this channel, help you ask the right questions. Okay, so we're going to cover three topics over the next few weeks. First, we're going to talk about research before you get on a call with a recruiter. Next week, we'll come back and tackle relocation, how to talk through that. And then the third thing we'll cover is salary expectations. I have absolutely done videos on all of these topics in some form or fashion, but we're going to try to kind of put them into some clear buckets over the next few weeks. So you'll have a nice little playlist to refer to if that's helpful. All right, cool. So let's jump into the first topic. Here's the exact quote that made me lose my mind. Do research on my company before we get on a call. How about no? But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm a hard no on this, okay? So we have to, first of all, think about a few different things. So first is the recruiter-facing side. Y'all need to understand, recruiters, that some of you work for massive companies, and so someone understanding what Microsoft does may not be super beneficial if you're talking about a very specific, narrow segment of Microsoft that does a really special thing. These companies are huge. They have lots of parts and pieces, and a job seeker who just doesn't know much about the intricacies of how a business group is set up or how things are broken down may not have a ton of research that they're able to do. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, agency recruiters, y'all cannot be serious if you're asking this. Y'all cannot, for the love of God, you cannot be serious if this ever comes out of your mouth. Because you're not the employer. Who are they researching? Robert Half? Was that even a real person? I actually don't know. I should look it up now because now I'm curious. Was Robert Half an actual individual? Or did someone just... It doesn't matter. We'll come back to that another time. So I want you, recruiters, check yourself. Is it reasonable and realistic that someone should take 5 minutes to research the company first? And if they do, if we are saying yes, you should be looking into that, do you have information available to them? Is your careers page, up to date? Does it have insights? Do you have a LinkedIn page? Does your own personal profile give people some indicators of what they should look at and what they should research? I work for a massive company, but I also recruit for a very small, highly specialized business group within that company. So my LinkedIn profile has a lot of good context there. You should be able to pick up some high-level insights should you choose to. However, I'm not going to hold you to that, because here's the follow-up to this. This is the other side of this, okay? Because I understand the dumpster fire of a market that we are currently in. I know that there is a lot of people who are just shooting their shot and they're applying to 100 roles, and they're probably so damn excited to get a call back or get an invitation from a recruiter that they maybe have not like allowed themselves to mentally even go there and get excited about an opportunity and like start doing all this research and digging in and learning. There's a lot of emotional labor that goes into that. So I think as recruiters, let's perhaps extend a little grace. Let's maybe think about, am I making this information easy to digest? Am I putting out the data that I think someone should come to that conversation with? Am I making it, a low lift? People are already going through a ton of unpaid labor just to get an opportunity to get a phone call. And now you're going to like start judging them because they didn't freaking Google your CEO and know the last freaking results of your financial forecast. What are we even researching? What? Now I've changed my mind again. I don't like this question anymore. So here's my script, recruiter friends. Here's what I will encourage you to consider potentially if you're open to it. I get on a call with folks and I will say, hey, thank you so much. Just as a reminder, we're here to talk about this specific position. Okay. And before we jump in, I want to make sure, that if you have any high level questions I can answer, I want to do that. Most importantly, I don't know what research you may have done up to now, but do you feel comfortable that you have a good understanding of what we do? Would it be helpful for me to give you an overview, or can I answer some questions about the organization before we go any further? This immediately relieves so much stress because now I'm not making any assumptions. I'm not assuming that someone has or has not done this super crazy deep dive, right? They may know a lot. I'm also giving them an out. Hey, you know what? An overview might be really helpful, actually. I've got some notes here, but it'd be great to hear from you, your opinion as a recruiter who works there. Like, tell me about your organization. It is a warm and welcoming opener. So, for the love of God, do not holler about candidate experience with the same lips that you're yelling about, you better do research on my company. If you would like to pick one of those lanes, by all means, go for it. But the same recruiters sometimes who are like so adamant about, oh, we should all just do better and, all of this cotton candy fluffy nonsense. And then at the same time, going to turn right around and be like, and by the way, if you don't jump through every ridiculous flaming hoop I've set up for you, you are not good enough for me. What are we doing? What are we doing? Anyway. Went off on a tangent there. Okay, so that's my recruiter thought. But here's the thing for job seekers, okay? Because we do not know what kind of recruiter we're going to get. Fun fact, you don't get to pick your recruiter. The company hired that recruiter. You don't know if that's a good recruiter or a bad recruiter. That recruiter might be a great recruiter, but not good for you. I mean, we don't know. There's just variables and things that we just don't have information or insights into at this point. It's fine. I'm going to ask you, job seekers, run under the assumption that this recruiter does want the same thing that you do, and that we're all trying to get a successful placement. And so if it's me, as soon as I have that call scheduled with the recruiter, I am going to do a quick search. I'm going to look at their LinkedIn profile. I want to see what kind of data they think is important, right? Are they talking about their company? I'm going to, again, try to understand as much as I can, review the job description again, review the company careers page, whatever, again, just some high level, I'm talking like 5-10 minutes of research. I don't want to over index on this, but just enough that God forbid a recruiter asked me what I know, I have an answer. This is a wonderful use of AI. Go ahead and ask your favorite LLM, I'm about to get on a call with a recruiter from ABC Company. What are some highlights about this role and this organization that I should know? See what it gives you. Do this ahead of time. Have your notes in front of you. Be ready to talk about this in that recruiter conversation. But at the same time, here's a question I want you to think about asking. Recruiter, thank you for making the time for this call. There's a lot of info on the internet about company, role, team, CEO, whatever. You're on the front lines. You work for the company. You butter them up a little bit, right? You've partnered with this company, you've hired for this company. I'd like to hear your perspective. Make them feel a little important. Make them feel like they have some knowledge to share. Recruiters love that shit. Okay? We're so beat up all the time that when someone's nice to us and asks for our opinion, we're just like, what? You think I have something valuable to say? I'm just saying, play the game a little, okay? Hey, play stupid games, recruiters. You're going to get stupid ass prizes. And here we are. Here's your prize. So that's my thoughts on that. So should you research the company before you get on a call with a recruiter? As always, it depends. I think I'll leave you with this last thought. The higher up the food chain you are, the more important I think this becomes. Somebody who's being, considered for a senior leadership type role or a management role or something. Yeah, we're probably going to be having slightly higher expectations of your research and your kind of pre-work and knowledge. I think there's also certain fields that this might matter more than others. If you're in sales, isn't that all part of discovery, right? And understanding your target. You're trying to close a deal. You're trying to close a hire for yourself. So doing that research ahead of time and kind of getting some of that pre-close info is probably not a bad thing. Marketing, writing, copy, things like that. Anything that kind of speaks to a high level of understanding and communication and leadership. I think the more it leans that way, the more important this research stuff becomes. So let's kind of keep that in mind as well. And this is, again, recruiting's not a monolith. There's no single way this is done correctly. I can say research is really super important, and I can be right depending on the lens that I'm looking at it through. I can also say I don't care if someone researches. I am more than happy to give them the info in the first 30 seconds of our conversation. That can also be equally right. So job seekers, this is a chance for you to do some self-inspection. Do I think I'm at a level or looking for the types of roles where this matters or not? You get to make that call, but recruiters, once again, I am begging you, let's maybe find opportunities to show some grace here, right? Because again, we're talking about the first intro call. I'm not talking about the interview prep, the later conversations. Yes, the further you get in the process, you best be paying attention, asking questions, understanding what you're getting into. But again, that first initial, we've literally never met or spoken before, this is an introductory call to see if there's a fit. Give me a break. Okay. That's all I got for this week, y'all. Next week, we're going to come back with our second topic in this little mini series. I'll see you there.